Welcome to Home Care Business Insights, your go-to resource for exploring the many aspects of running a successful home care business. Whether you're an industry pro, new entrepreneur, or just curious about the industry, this podcast offers strategies, tips, and solutions to help you succeed. While AI-generated voices host the episodes, the insights are real and designed with your growth in mind. Let's dive into what matters most in building a thriving home care business. Now let's hear from our AI hosts.
Picture this, right? You've spent, say, the last 15 years in this high-pressure crucible of corporate tech.
Oh, yeah. The grind.
Exactly, the grind. You are managing these massive project sprints.
Yeah.
You're constantly optimizing algorithms, and you are just solving incredibly complex logical problems on a daily basis.
Right.
But eventually, the burnout just starts creeping in.
It always does.
Yeah, and the endless pursuit of, shipping the next software update or hitting those user acquisition metrics, it just starts to feel a bit hollow.
Absolutely.
So after all that grind, where do you go when you want something more meaningful? I mean, you might assume a person in that position just opens a coffee shop or maybe starts an independent consulting firm.
Sure, yeah. That's the cliche.
Right. But surprisingly, one of the most successful pivots they make is actually into home care franchising.
Which, it sounds like a massive leap, going from silicon chips and software deployments to senior care.
It really does.
But the goal of our deep dive today for Home Care Business Insights, brought to you by Caring Senior Service, is to explore this exact phenomenon.
Yeah.
We are unpacking this fascinating pipeline from the tech industry straight to senior care ownership.
It's super interesting.
It really is.
Yeah.
More specifically, we're going to look at why some of the best home care owners come from tech and why the mental architecture forged in that industry, things like systems thinking, extreme adaptability, process improvement, makes this industry such a perfect fit.
Okay, let's unpack this because on the surface, those two worlds feel light years apart to me.
Oh, for sure. Night and day.
Right. Like when I think of a tech background, my mind immediately goes to someone in a dark room writing Python, building custom software platforms, or, managing a GitHub repository.
Yeah, the classic hacker stereotype.
Exactly. So before we even talk about operational strategies, how on earth does coding translate to sending a caregiver to help a senior with their morning routine?
Well, that is the first massive misconception we really need to clear up. Success in home care franchising is absolutely not about coding.
Wait, really? Not at all.
Not at all. You are not building custom technology platforms. Franchise owners are not sitting in a back office acting as software developers, creating proprietary apps.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if you are doing that, you are actually doing the business a huge disservice.
Okay, so what are we actually talking about when we say tech background then?
We are talking about a highly specific way of viewing the world. It's a mindset.
The mindset, got it.
Right. Tech professionals are trained to identify inefficiencies, structure solutions, and just remain intensely organized in the face of absolute chaos.
Which happens a lot in tech.
Exactly. It's the ability to evaluate a problem, strip away the emotion, and look at the underlying mechanics of what is broken.
I was thinking about this, and I want to try an analogy out on you to see if I'm tracking here.
Yeah, go for it.
So in the tech world, things break. Often.
Oh, constant.
Right. You have these high-stress moments where a server goes down, users are completely locked out, and literally millions of dollars might be on the line.
Yeah, total panic mode.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, over in home care, let's say it's 6:00 a.m. on a Tuesday. 3 caregivers call out sick simultaneously, and you have anxious families demanding immediate coverage.
A nightmare scenario.
Right.
Right.
So is managing a daily caregiver schedule that suddenly goes off the rails kind of like responding to an unexpected server outage or a critical software bug?
That is a phenomenal way to look at it. The cognitive muscle required to handle both of those situations is practically identical.
Really? Identical?
Yeah, think about what happens during a critical server outage. You don't have the luxury of panicking.
No, you definitely don't.
You have to evaluate the problem quickly, identify the root cause, assess the resources you actually have available, and deploy a solution systematically. You're basically performing triage under immense pressure.
So the tech professional doesn't look at the 6:00 a.m. schedule blowout as like a personal disaster. They look at it as a system failure that just needs a patch.
What's fascinating here is that they coordinate the moving pieces, caregivers, client needs, drive times, skill matching, and they communicate with the stakeholders.
Which in this case are those anxious families.
Precisely. But what makes the tech professional so effective is what they do after the fire is put out.
What do you mean?
Well, a traditional business owner might survive that 6.0 a.m. crisis, wipe the sweat from their forehead, and just hope it doesn't happen again tomorrow.
Yeah, just gonna cross their fingers.
Right. But a tech professional hates redundant effort.
Oh, yeah. They despise it.
Exactly. If they have to solve the same crisis twice, they view it as a systemic failure. So they immediately start looking for the failover protocol.
Okay, let's define that for a second, because what does a failover protocol actually look like in a deeply human service like home care?
That's a good question.
I mean, you can't just install a backup server for a human caregiver, right?
No, obviously not. But you can build redundancy into your operations.
Okay. Okay.
The tech-minded owner will analyze the data. Why did those 3 caregivers call out? Was it burnout from overscheduling?
Oh, I see.
Were they placed with clients whose acuity levels were just too high for their current training? The owner uses existing CRM systems and data to spot the pattern.
So they're looking for the root bug in the system.
Exactly. Then they build the failover protocol. Maybe that's implementing a cross-trained float pool of caregivers, or maybe adjusting the scheduling algorithm so no caregiver works more than 3 high acuity shifts in a row.
Right.
They solve the root cause so the 6.0 a.m. blowout never happens in the first place.
That makes a lot of sense. They really treat the business operations like an operating system that needs continuous optimization.
Yes. Continuous optimization is key.
But, here is where I get a little stuck.
Okay, lay it on me.
So how exactly does a tech-style workflow map onto a deeply human service like home care? Like,
Yeah.
you cannot automate a caregiver holding a senior's hand or, helping them out of a wheelchair.
No, you absolutely cannot. And home care is a people business first. You cannot automate empathy.
Right.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, here is the secret. Efficiency in the back office is what protects that human connection on the front lines.
Oh, that's an interesting way to frame it.
Yeah, the tech professional isn't trying to automate the care itself. They are automating the operations surrounding the care. They know how to use existing systems effectively to just, remove friction.
Give me a concrete example of that. What does removing friction look like in the day-to-day operations?
Take the caregiver hiring and onboarding process.
Okay.
In a lot of traditional agencies, this is a chaotic, paper-heavy process. But a former tech professional looks at caregiver recruitment like user acquisition.
Wait, really? Like acquiring users for an app?
Exactly. They don't just post ads randomly. They track which zip codes and which ad platforms yield the best applicants. They look at retention data.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They might discover that caregivers who receive a structured check-in call on, say, day 3 and day 7 of their employment end up staying 40% longer.
That's a huge metric.
Right. So what do? They build an automated workflow that pings the office staff to make those exact calls on those exact days.
Oh, I see. They are treating the caregiver's first 30 days like user onboarding for a software platform.
Precisely.
You want the user, or in this case, the caregiver, to have the absolute smoothest, most supportive experience possible so they don't churn.
Yes, exactly. They build repeatable, bulletproof workflows for hiring, marketing, and the intake process for a new client.
Right.
When the intake funnel is frictionless, the family feels supported from the very first phone call. When the scheduling systems are solid, the caregivers aren't stressed about their hours.
Which means they can actually focus on the job.
Exactly. By systematizing the back office, the staff isn't bogged down in operational chaos, which means the caregivers have the mental and emotional bandwidth to just focus on providing phenomenal care.
That is brilliant. Okay, we need to take a quick break right here on Home Care Business Insights.
Sounds good.
You've probably heard people say corporate jobs are the safer path. But after talking with hundreds of professionals looking for something more, I'm not convinced that's true anymore. Here's what no one tells you. A quote-unquote secure job still means someone else decides if you get to stay, and you don't control what happens to your role, your team, your future. But when you own something, especially with a system and support behind you, the game changes. Franchising gives you the structure, the tools, and a roadmap to actually build the kind of stability people are chasing in corporate life. You're not going it alone. You've got a playbook and a team to help you run it. So if you've been thinking, is there more than this? The answer is yes. Go to caringfranchise.com to book a quick discovery call, and let's see if this is your next move.
Welcome back to on why tech professionals make incredible home care franchise owners.
Glad to be back.
So before the break, we talked about how tech leaders use data and systems to optimize the back office. But I have to push back on this a little bit.
Okay, let's hear it.
Because data and systems can only take a business so far.
True.
Ultimately, you have to lead the actual human beings who are executing those systems, and frankly, tech is often stereotyped as solitary or purely metric-focused.
Yeah, that's definitely a common perception.
So how do these folks handle the deeply human side of home care? Like reassuring an anxious family or supporting an underpaid caregiver on a really tough day. Managing a remote developer on Slack is wildly different from that.
It's a very fair challenge. But we really need to dismantle that stereotype.
Okay, dismantle away.
If you look at modern tech leadership, that whole solitary introvert thing is largely a myth. Think about what a senior project manager or a tech lead actually does all day.
Mostly meetings, right?
Exactly. They are leading massive, diverse teams. They manage complex projects and coordinate across completely different departments.
That's true.
Getting engineering, marketing, and sales to actually agree on a product launch requires an incredible amount of diplomacy and emotional intelligence.
Sure, I'll grant you that they have to be diplomatic in corporate meetings. But again, these are corporate professionals. A caregiver is dealing with life, death, cognitive decline, physical exhaustion.
Yes, the stakes are very different, but the fundamental mechanics of good leadership are incredibly similar.
How so?
In tech, the best managers are masters of unblocking their team.
Unblocking.
Yeah. Their entire job is to ask, what is preventing you from doing your best work today, and how can I remove that obstacle? When you apply that exact same leadership philosophy to a caregiver, it is literally transformative.
So instead of asking, why didn't you show up for your shift, they're asking, what is blocking you from being successful right now?
Precisely. A tech-minded owner might institute something like agile sprint retrospectives with their care team.
Oh, wow. Agile and home care.
Yes. In the software world, after a 2-week sprint, the team gathers to discuss what went well, what failed, and how to improve. Imagine applying that to a home care staff.
That would be amazing.
The owner creates a culture of psychological safety where a caregiver can say, hey, the client's dementia is progressing and the current care plan just isn't working. I feel overwhelmed.
And the tech leader doesn't view that as complaining.
No, not at all. They view it as crucial data from the front lines. They immediately iterate on the care plan, provide additional training, and unblock the caregiver.
That is fascinating. So they are taking these communication frameworks like retrospectives and feedback loops and using them to make the caregiver feel seen, supported, and part of a well-oiled machine.
And in this industry, caregiver retention is the foundation of the entire business. Furthermore, tech leaders are incredibly comfortable managing distributed teams across different time zones.
Oh, right, because of remote work.
Exactly. And what is a home care workforce? It is a distributed team.
Wow, I never thought of it that way.
Your caregivers aren't sitting in cubicles outside your office. They are spread out across the community in dozens of different homes. The ability to keep a remote team aligned with a core mission, to communicate clearly without ambiguity, and to provide support from a distance, those are native skills to a tech professional.
Okay, I'm convinced on the how. If they apply agile frameworks to caregivers, unblock their teams, and use data to predict turnover, they are going to build a phenomenal operational engine.
Absolutely.
But here's where it gets really interesting. This naturally leads to the big why.
The why.
If they are so skilled at optimizing these systems, and they are making incredibly lucrative, comfortable salaries doing it in Silicon Valley or corporate IT,
Yeah.
why on earth do they leave?
It's a great question.
Why deal with the messy, complex world of senior care at all?
It comes down to a very specific type of burnout. It's not always that they are working too many hours, though they often are. It's a burnout of purpose.
A burnout of purpose. I like that phrase.
Yeah. If you spend 15 years of your life focusing strictly on daily active users, optimizing ad spend, or shipping, minor software updates, you eventually just hit a wall.
Right.
You look at your screen and realize that increasing a click-through rate by 0.2% doesn't actually matter in the grand scheme of things.
It leaves you craving real, tangible impact, something
Yeah.
people-centered.
Exactly. These professionals aren't leaving tech because they failed. Many of them are at the absolute peak of their careers.
Right. They're doing great financially.
They are leaving because they want to look back at their week and say, I actually made someone's life better. And the human impact in home care is immediate. You don't have to wait for a quarterly earnings report to see the good you've done.
I can imagine that transition is profoundly emotional. You go from launching a sauce product to getting a hug from a tearful daughter because you finally allowed her dad to sleep safely through the night.
It's life-changing.
Yeah.
As a franchise owner in this space, you are directly helping seniors age safely and with dignity in their own homes. You are providing a literal lifeline to overwhelmed family caregivers who are just exhausted and desperate for help. And on the business side, you are creating meaningful, stable, local jobs in your own community.
Which is huge.
It is. You are building an economic engine that also acts as a social safety net.
I think about that dual purpose a lot. You don't have to choose between being a sharp, growth-minded entrepreneur and doing good in the world. You can have both.
I recently heard a realization shared by an owner who made this exact pivot from the tech sector, and it perfectly summarizes this.
Oh, what do they say?
They said, you can still build something scalable and successful, but now you also get to change lives.
Wow. That is incredibly powerful.
It really is.
But wait, I have one more massive roadblock that I know someone listening right now is screaming at their device about.
Okay, let's hear the roadblock.
So the drive for meaning is there, the operational skills are there, but you can't just hack healthcare.
Right.
If you've spent 15 years managing software deployments, you probably don't know the first thing about healthcare. You don't know Medicare, Medicaid, care plans, mobility transfers, or compliance regulations. Isn't that lack of clinical knowledge a massive, dangerous liability?
This raises an important question, and it is, without a doubt, the single biggest misconception in the entire home care industry.
Okay, clear it up for us.
People assume you need to be a former nurse or a hospital administrator to run a home care business. I am here to break that down for you. You do not need a clinical or healthcare background to succeed.
Wait, really? Not at all.
None at all. In fact, some of the most successful franchisees at Caring Senior Service come from entirely different worlds: tech, corporate leadership, sales, finance, operations, and the military.
But how do they safely deliver care if they don't know the healthcare side?
That is the distinct advantage of the franchise model. Think of the franchise system as an API for healthcare.
Oh, wow. I love that analogy. An API for healthcare.
Right. When a tech developer builds an app, they don't reinvent the payment processing system, they just plug into Stripe's API.
Exactly.
In home care, the franchise provides the clinical and operational API. At Caring Senior Service, franchisees are not left to figure out healthcare regulations on their own. We provide rigorous training.
Right, the system is already built.
Yes. We provide the operational support, the marketing guidance, the compliance education, and ongoing coaching. We hand you the clinical framework and the proven operational playbook. What truly matters for the owner is strong leadership, operational thinking, compassion, and crucially, coachability.
And tech professionals are incredibly coachable, aren't they?
Oh, totally.
Because they are used to iterating. They're used to accepting that version 1.0 of their knowledge isn't perfect, so they just adopt the proven framework.
Exactly. They accept the Caring Senior Service franchise playbook as version 1.0 of their business, and they just execute it flawlessly.
Makes total sense.
And honestly, an owner without a healthcare background often has a distinct advantage.
Really? How so?
Because they aren't entrenched in the historical baggage of, this is the way we've always done it in healthcare. They bring fresh perspectives. When they see a scheduling bottleneck, they don't shrug it off as a frustrating reality of the medical field. They view it as a workflow inefficiency that can be solved. Their outside perspective actually helps them stand out in the market.
So what does this all mean? If we step back and look at this entire journey, it paints a really compelling picture.
It does.
The very skills you honed in the fast-paced, high-stress tech world, the rapid problem-solving under pressure, the adaptability, the systems thinking, and your comfort with navigating constant change, those aren't just useful traits. They are the exact blueprint for a thriving home care franchise.
Completely agree.
You are trading unexpected server outages for daily human challenges. But the cognitive muscle required to conquer them is exactly the same. It is the ultimate combination of operational excellence and deeply meaningful, mission-driven work.
It really is. And, you know, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over as you go about the rest of your day.
Lay it on us.
Think about the incredible operational superpowers you've built over your career in tech. The ability to untangle complex problems, to lead teams through chaos, to unblock your staff, and to build systems that scale.
Yeah.
If you could take those exact superpowers and instantly plug them into a proven system that not only scales financially, but fundamentally changes the lives of families right in your own community, what is holding you back from making that leap?
That is the question, isn't it? What is holding you back?
Right.
If you are a tech professional listening to this and you find yourself exploring what that next chapter of your career could look like, we highly encourage you to consider home care franchising.
Absolutely.
You don't have to know healthcare. Caring Senior Service provides all the necessary training, support, and systems you need to succeed, regardless of your background. Thank you so much for joining us for Home Care Business Insights. We'll catch you next time.